Hi everyone, so firstly before we get into this video, I'm aware that the lighting is a little bit crazy. Just bear with it, we're having to use natural lighting, so who knows what's going to happen. But today I want to talk about travelling, specifically travelling with anxiety or with travel sickness. It's something that I've dealt with for a long time. I deal with both. I do get anxious about travelling and I am genuinely travel sick. I was travel sick before I was anxious. They go hand in hand a lot of the time. Um, Obviously, I'm not a healthcare professional. You can actually go to your doctor and talk about it with them. I actually did get medication for it because it did get quite severe. The medication didn't help me, but that's not to say that it wouldn't help you. So, if in doubt, just go and talk to your doctor. There's nothing wrong with just having that conversation with them. So first thing I want to talk about is positioning. Now if you've been travel sick for a long time, a lot of these points you probably already know because you will have done your research, but for anyone that perhaps is developing anxiety and because of that they feel quite sick when travelling, these are some of the things that you should definitely know. So when you're on a plane, you either want to sit as close to the wings as possible or as close to the front of the plane as possible, because these are the steadiest places and the places that you'll feel turbulence the least. I would also say that sitting at the front of the plane makes me feel better personally. One, as soon as you get on the plane, you don't have to worry like walking down the aisle and all that kind of thing. You can just get straight into your seat. And two, there will always be like flight attendants or toilets nearby. So if you need anything, and it's not like a big trek up, like, oh God, I'm going to be sick, I've got to run up the aisle. Everything is right there, so that makes me feel a lot better. And then on a coach or in a car, you want to sit as close to the front as possible. On a coach, do not sit over the wheels. The wheels, that is one of the bumpiest places. Do not sit at the back because you will feel the most like engine rumbling there. So as close to the front as possible, preferably in the front seat. Obviously if you're on a coach or a bus, the front seat is the driver, so you can't sit there, but just as close to the front as possible so that you can see the road and you can focus on the distance. Also, if you're on a coach, don't sit next to the window. Try and get an aisle seat if you have the choice between the two, because in your peripheral vision you will see things whizzing past you and that can make you feel dizzy. As far as eating is concerned, eat lightly before you go, but please do eat something. I actually find that I feel a lot more dizzy and sick if I don't have something in my stomach, so I usually try to aim to eat something light about 2 hours before the flight or the journey so that I'm full but not to the point where everything is still like quite fresh, if you will, because that isn't a good thing. Also, try to avoid spicy and fatty foods because those are the kind of things that will irritate your stomach. Just go as plain as possible. If you're on a long haul flight or a long journey, take some like crackers, something really plain just to nibble on, because it is really important that you do eat something. And obviously also it's important to keep hydrated. Just sip little and often. I know that sometimes like I'm reluctant to, because if I need the toilet it then means like getting up and going to the toilet, and sometimes it is better to just sit as still as possible and just wait out the journey. But it is important to stay hydrated, so please do that as well. Another thing is to eat ginger. Now this has been disputed. I did do some online research before this video to see what, because I've always eaten ginger, like that's something that I've always been told to do, like, oh, if you feel sick or travel sick, eat ginger. And I mean, ginger does settle your stomach, that much is true. How effective it is when travelling, it's up for debate, but I would always say that if you can stomach it, because it is quite a strong taste, just cut up a little bit of fresh ginger, wrap it in tin foil because that'll keep it fresher for longer, and you can take it through like customs if you're going on a flight. Wherever you're going, just take a little bit with you and just nibble it little and often, and I do find that it does settle my stomach, although in fairness I have still been ill when eating it, but you know, at the very least it's a distraction. The strong taste can be a distraction. Another thing I would say is to look at a fixed point and focus on that, particularly if you're seasick. Looking at one fixed point in the distance is really good. Also, I would say that you need to have as much fresh air as possible. So open a window, just keep the air fresh. Sometimes stale air can make you feel really stuffy, it can give you a headache. Fresh air is really important, and sometimes sort of when you're feeling sick you get really hot, especially in the face. Like I find that my face goes really red and I get really hot, so just having that nice fresh air from cracking open a window for 5 minutes is really helpful. Obviously, if you are travel sick, do not read. That does not help you whatsoever. I'm sure by now you know that. But distraction can be a good thing. Now, listening to music, again, it is up for debate. A lot of people say it's a good thing because it distracts you, but also a lot of travel sickness is actually caused by like a middle ear imbalance, if I remember rightly. And music can disrupt this balance, so I mean, I guess it's just finding out what works best for you. Something that I found is an app called Neversick. I can't actually remember how much the app is, but if I do find it, I will include it somewhere on this screen now. It's basically an app that you can get on Android that it sort of produces sounds that are supposed to help balance your middle ear. Whether this actually does this for me, I'm not sure, but at the very least it's like a fun little tune. It gives me something to focus on other than feeling sick. Also, it doesn't run down your battery, because a lot of the time when you have apps open that can happen. It doesn't do that, and I can fall asleep to it, which is another great thing, because sometimes if music suddenly gets loud or like a certain instrument is introduced, I'll jolt awake, but that doesn't happen, so that is something that I would definitely recommend looking into. These are sort of some additional points for travel sickness. I would say wear loose clothing when you're travelling, nothing too tight around your waist, that just adds pressure to your stomach. As loose as possible. I think that even if you're on like a car or a coach, wearing like big fluffy socks, just relieving any pressure, so the pressure of your shoes, your jeans, anything restrictive around your neck. It might not look like the most attractive, but at the end of the day, travelling isn't a fashion show. Wear whatever makes you comfortable, whatever you find comforting as well. If you have like a certain pair of socks that you like to snuggle up in of an evening, bring those. Anything that comforts you is perfect, and just really just try and relax in your clothes. Just wear something that it doesn't feel like you're wearing clothes, and you can just sit down and be like, oh, this is my space, this is my time, I'm gonna make it work. Another thing is to stock up on sick bags. Okay, my camera just cut out. I can't exactly remember where I was up to, but we'll just improvise. So I was talking about getting sick bags. I'm just going to sum up that point. Stock up on as many sick bags as possible so that you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to ask people next to you, can I borrow your sick bag? It's not a big deal. Sorted. Something that a lot of people find beneficial that didn't exactly work for me were acupressure bands. You can get these at your local pharmacy. You know what, I don't even think you have to go to a pharmacy. Like, they have them in Tesco's and everything. They're like bands that you put on your acupressure points on your wrists. They are like a band and they have a little sort of hump on them that sticks into your pressure point, and it's supposed to relieve nausea when you're travelling. Like I said, they didn't work for me. I did try a few different brands just to like try them out. They didn't work, but I do actually know someone that does find them very useful, so anything that I say in this video, although it might not necessarily work for you, please don't discourage others from trying it, because everyone's different, everyone's sort of symptoms are different, everyone's causes are different, so even if it just works as a placebo, like especially if you're anxious and you think this will help me, a lot of the time you do actually find that you feel better for it. So yeah. Another thing that didn't work for me that is a little bit more radical is acupuncture. Now I know a lot of people are like, why on earth would you get acupuncture? There are actually a lot of people that benefit from it. There are so many studies saying yes, it's really good for travel sickness, no, it's a load of rubbish. It didn't actually work for me, but again, it's not to say that it wouldn't work for you. You can actually get like specific acupuncture for travel sickness. I went to like a local acupuncturist who runs like I think it's like a Chinese medicinal shop. Yeah, like I said, it didn't work for me, but it wasn't an unpleasant experience. I think if you're sort of nervous around needles, as I am, it's not really a big deal. Like, I wouldn't call it relaxing, but it wasn't like painful or anything. I can't exactly remember the price, but I don't think it was like absolutely ridiculous, but maybe if I had paid more it would have worked, but who knows. Anyway, it's always worth giving it a try. Now I just want to briefly talk about the anxiety side of it. I know I've talked sort of more about the travel sickness side. For anxiety wise, I think the most important thing first to do is to find out the reason why you're feeling anxious. This can sort of vary. I mean, you could be feeling anxious about the destination, like perhaps there's something that you're going to do that you're anxious about, so you feel anxious on the journey, in which case you need to just implement your methods that you use to deal with those kind of anxieties. So perhaps you like to visualize, you like to sort of reinforce what you're doing with positive visualization, rationalize, think, why am I afraid of this? What's the worst that can happen? Run through those worst case scenarios and come to terms with them. If you are anxious like me about being sick, again, sick bags, just being completely prepared, I like to actually make lists, even when I'm just going on a car journey, like if it's a long one. I make a list of everything that I need, and then I tick them off so I know that everything's in my bag, I'm not fiddling around. I make sure that everything is simply laid out so I don't have to like look down, like rummage around, everything is there. That kind of thing just makes me feel a lot better. Also, knowing exactly where you are going, so looking on like Google Maps, or if you're old school, just like a regular map, seeing the route, seeing where there might be areas of like windy roads that you want to prepare for. Although I will say then, there is such a thing as too much preparation, and that you like whip yourself up into a state and you're like, oh my god, in 10 miles there's going to be like so many speed bumps, and then you get really anxious. The main thing is to relax, and I know that this is a very hard thing to do. So many times people have said to me, just relax, it's fine. It is hard to relax when you are feeling anxious travelling. For the most part, there is no escape. That is another thing for me. Like when you're on a plane or you're on a coach, you can't just say, oh, can you pull over? No, that doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, you just sort of need to think, well, even if I feel anxious, nothing's going to change. Feeling anxious and getting worried isn't going to change the situation. And at the end of the day, if you're sick, you're sick. If maybe you have some other problem when you travel, that's going to happen. No matter what you do, that will be the end result. And if you have been sort of dealing with travel sickness like me for a long time, I've actually sort of come to terms with the fact that that is going to happen. I've been sick in front of people so many times, and honestly, you are not alone. I know that a lot of the time travel sickness can feel like a really big inconvenience. All of your friends like chatting and eating, and they don't have to worry, and you are sort of just sat there rigid looking at the distance. But travelling isn't really a big part of your life. At the end of the day, there are so many more amazing things. You know, the destination is the end game. The destination is where the experience is. So you just need to make it there. Don't worry about what you look like. Don't worry about sort of the embarrassment. People who are sympathetic and kind will understand that you don't feel well. They will have sympathy for you. Those are the kind of people that you want to surround yourself with. If, which I have experienced a lot, there are people that are sort of disgruntled and sort of get angry because you're being sick and you're ruining their travelling experience, well, you need to be feeling sorry for those people, because they are obviously very angry people, and, you know, we should sort of think, wow, like, you're going to live your life being so angry at someone else because they're ill. What kind of a person are you? What kind of a life are you leading? And just sort of think of it that way. That's what I like to do. If I'm being sick and there's someone next to me that's like, ugh, I sort of just say, well, I don't say it to them, but I think in my mind, you know, what a miserable life they lead. If someone was next to me being sick, I mean, I would be a little bit grossed out because I don't deal well with sick, but I would think, oh, I feel really sorry for them, you know, they obviously struggle with travelling, this is obviously a problem that they have. So honestly, you are not alone. Please don't let it stop you from having amazing experiences. Don't let it hold you back. It is only a short part of your holiday or your journey or your day out. Don't let it ruin the rest of the day out. Just really try and relax and come to terms with it, and I hope that you have a really nice travelling experience. Alright, that is it for me for today. Thank you for watching. I am going to leave some links in the description box about like different websites that I've looked at.